Yo, Ralph Bear here. Now, tell me you've ever been in this particular scenario before. You watch an episode of your favorite show, be it My Little Pony or Batman the Animated Series, and enjoy an episode because of its interesting premise and plot. Then you watch another episode either from the same show or a different show that happens to have the exact same premise, including the type of story but with different characters, settings, and even plot points, but you recall the same kind of episode either better than the last particular episode, or worse, or falling somewhere in between. This is the type of episode we're going for, ladies and gentlemen. In this new edition of the Stupid Movie Reviews, me and the team are going to pull off an old versus new style of reviews where we compare two episodes from the same show or from two totally different shows that happens to have the same kind of plot and score points to see which version of said episode has been executed the best. And for this one, we're going to talk about two episodes of Batman the Animated Series. And to kick things off, Birds of a Feather and Harley's Holiday. These two episodes feature this premise. One of the villains for Batman's Rogues Gallery decided that after years of finding the Caped Crusader, decided to have a normal life. But after being betrayed and shunned by society because of their dark past, they relapsed into villainy and Batman had to stop them once again. This plot has been done many times before in Batman the Animated Series with various twists to the civilian villain trope, from Riddler's Reform, House and Garden, and Joker's Millions, each executed with various results. Hell, the Batman series throughout various media is usually the best target for these kinds of stories and tropes due to Batman's themes of justice, not vengeance, and giving people a chance despite he doesn't believe in himself. It usually shows why his Rogues Gallery is so unique, as they are much more human than most other supervillains. And also the environment, just think about what we're living at here. Thus make these stories much more entertaining to pull off. The reason I choose these episodes out of all the other ones I mentioned because they feel the most drastically different, with Birds of a Feather being more traditional and Harley's Holiday being more comical in tone. I mean, seriously, who expects anything except comedy in a Harley or Joker episode?
So we're setting up 4 different categories in this episode, starting from characters, the analysis of main protagonists and their development of their characters from beginning to the end of the episode that they starred in. Supporting characters, we discuss the analysis of the characters in both stories who had an important role in the whole thing. Animation, tone, and visuals, where we talk about the animation quality, the tone, and the visual look of both episodes to see which one pulled it off the best. And finally, to plot execution, where we talk about the plot of both of them and see which version of that story is told better. We'll be mentioning pacing, positives, flaws, and entertainment value. And each episode earns a point if they win that particular category. The episode with the most points is the superior version of that plot's episode.
Alright, now let's begin with Mr. Penguin and Harley Quinn.
Alright now. The Penguin has been Batman's most dopey, second dopey, third, fourth, the dopiest looking serious Batman villain debuting in Detective Comics number 58 in 1941, based on a picture of a penguin on a pack of cigarettes. The Penguin was portrayed by various actors from your Burgess Meredith to your Danny DeVitos and the Nolan Norths. Now onto the animated series side of things, voiced by songwriter Paul Williams. This incarnation of the Penguin debuted in what considered by many fans the worst episode of the animated series ever. I've got a Batman in my basement. Unlike the other Bat villains who had a strong debut, his was kind of a dud. Yeah. And besides appearing in supporting villain roles in The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne and the acclaimed Almost Got Him, we never got a memorable good episode featuring the Tubby Bird as the main baddie until Birds of a Feather happened, one of his best solo episodes.
After getting defeated by Batman, Penguin claimed that he was totally done to be evil and stuff, and want to be one with the rich people life, but no one came to say hi, not even the Joker. You guys played cards together! You are so dead to me!
Penguin as a character is the most believable to see his journey going straight and end his criminal life. He was not only one of the very few Bat villains who isn't insane, but he had a legit rich background. And by George, he need to return to that. We see him at first being totally alone and not even with his friends.
Who he played cards with, even with that rock guy, and his story was awesome! Am I right?
Damn straight!
Damn right!
Yes, yes, didn't bother to say hi, and at first we thought his journey would be a real dead end until the character Veronica Freeland gets his story rolling by being interested in spending time with him through a social gathering, only for the whole practical joke of the Penguin in a vain attempt for her to be up there in the eyes of a social status.
Now, Penguin's no idiot, as he at first questioned her motives, but a simple white lie with a dash of charm, and Penguin's hopeful feelings of being part of rich society and being with a lovely woman cloud his judgment and common sense. What makes this character more interesting to watch is that he's such a big nerd of everything classical, from his love of fancy dining and classical music, but he is totally oblivious about the snotty rich jerk's horrid and disgusting reaction of him, and the various obvious disinterest from Veronica in those same scenes. It shines well that he was even willing to protect her despite knowing her just a little, showing even more how much of a nice guy he can be. Well, if not for such classic BS method that we can easily sum up as, we're rich, you see. Because making fun of the ugly and the criminally competent is hilarious. Hashtag Gotham social status. Hashtag I thought it was a good idea at the time. And hashtag tea. Seriously guys, are you that damn bored that you could just keep poking fun of a supervillain until he snaps? It's gonna get quite ugly indeed.
But then after Peggy knows that he was being poken fun of, he not only just relapses back to evilness, but more like broken, betrayed, and really mad as he kidnapped Veronica and Fruity Guy over there, until Batman stopped him. His line,
I suppose it's true what they say. Society is to blame. High society.
Means that the vain society life had let them alone with their jokes, or at least be a bit more open-minded and considerate with people being different, he would have been seriously retired as a villain and could have still be a better person. He was the type of person who lives a fancy life and then robs it from others. He relates more to his fellow bad guy comrades, as they are the only high class he can really click with. It's like a geek trying for a football club. Everything could go so wrong if you're not compatible with anyone there.
Penguin is just very oblivious about things he does around people because he's just being him and wants Veronica and the others to like only him. It's no surprise that in the comics he is teased as a child for his appearance and being pampered and babied by his late mother. This works well why we describe Pengy as a nerd in the episode itself, since we can tell from his crude sense of humor and being a total ham about it, he's still insecure about himself, and he can act immature sometimes. His behavior, even from previous episodes, shows how gentlemanly he acts, even if he's being ironic about it or not, and it shows that it's possible. It's just Gotham and his little, cruel, rich society that can rub people off in the wrong way.
Harley Quinn. What can we say that hasn't already been said after Mad Love? After blowing her way out of college, to become a psychologist, she uses the Joker as her patient for cheap publicity. But due to her inexperience, she soon fell in love with the Joker after he weeps out a lot of fake stories about his childhood to her to gain sympathy. She went insane and became Joker's most memorable and most popular hench-girl and villainess in Batman's Rogues Gallery after debuting the episode The Joker's Favor. Since then, she became so incredibly popular that she manages to be in the comics themselves, still loving her Mr. J and hanging out with her BFF Ivy. Yes, BFFs. And became pretty much DC's version of Deadpool in the New 52. So far, at the time this episode came out, it was way before the televised audience get to see the anime adaptation of Mad Love years later. But even in this episode, we could easily get a lot of good hints from Harley's character and how different she is from the Joker.
From the start, she was so bubbly and happy about finally leaving Arkham after years of being the butt of Batman and Joker's jokes. Dr. Leland gave her a clean bill of health and parole so she can live a normal life. Let's see how long that lasts.
Oh, that didn't last long. What a clean bill of health indeed.
well, besides all that, she was being super duper serious on being nice, but she's kinda silly and awkward, especially around people she robbed previously. It kinda shows how smart she is by animalizing about the angry girlfriend trope and flirting with other people that is not a scary clown, which show her dedication and stuff.
Yes, she's aware that people aren't going to immediately warm up to her due to her obvious past, and hopes that, through time, they will. Well, no, in this damn city, that is a huge doubt. But in this case here, instead of jerk-ass people relapsing her into crime again, she pretty much became...
I'm a victim of circumstance.
That or the paranoia that she's gonna be in a slammer again for the crimes of being that hot clown chick for trying to kill people with an anime hammer, doing bad again.
So thus she abducted that Freeland lady from Penguin's episode and go on a wild road trip to get straight out of Gotham.
What I like is, unlike Penguin, who not only relapsed but dedicated into kidnapping and ransoming someone after going back to crime, Harley, despite what's happening, still wants to have a normal life and attempting to do so by leaving town and starting another life, maybe with a new identity or whatever. She even shows kindness to Veronica. Well, after what she did to Penguin, I kinda wish she was whacked with a mallet. To even going as far as making sure no muck paws her and return her safely to Batman and her psycho tank dad by showing there is a lot more to her than being a ditz. I think she's even faking being a ditz most of the time.
Because of her cautious paranoia, it takes her a hell of a while to believe Batman and Robin that they are trying to help her, I guess. She even questions Batman on why a guy like him cares for a crook like her, since they both have their own shares of bad days and Batman just wants her to turn out alright. Oh, and there's a Killing Joke reference somewhere, but I think the audience will get it anyways. While the Penguin is just sympathetic, he just seemed to give up with having a good life completely so fast. Even we did got the time to see him breathe it all in until the 14 minutes and 33 seconds mark. While Harley, no matter how things went, was still trying to do good and not give up being a better person despite all the things that are happening to her.
Yeah, Penguin after that still does bad things, but at least he was free and has a fancy nightclub. But that was still just a little hideout so he can still do evil stuff. While Harley after that, in the future, ends up with a normal life as a grandmother of 2 clown girls.
And with that, the point for character goes to Harley Quinn.
And now, let's get on with supporting characters, which includes Batman, as his role in both stories is pretty much presented this way, Veronica Vreeland, and other characters. The Dark Knight himself doesn't need no introduction. Well, okay, maybe this. Batman in both of these stories is pretty much a witness of the events to come, seeing his recurring foes trying to go straight, relapse, and unfortunately has to stop them, even if he did try to give them a chance and help them before things get any worse. I think his attempts in Birds of a Feather compared to Harley's Holiday is a lot weaker, as all he pretty much does at the beginning is to tell Penguin if he does anything evil, he's pretty much going down, though justifiable. Hell, he even immediately ties up Penguin from a misunderstanding until Veronica cleared things up.
After Bruce knows what's going on, he tried talking to Veronica and her littlest servant out of this. And after he realized how serious Penguin was in having a good life, he wanted to propose to Veronica. Does Bruce try to warn him?
Nope. He just stands there like a dolt and now reacted as the dolt knight once things get out of hand. He could have told him what's up, he could have reasoned with him about that since he's one of the few of those snobs that actually gives a damn about him. Better yet,
in Harley's Holiday, Bruce and Batman went to the extra effort to help and support Harley this time.
If you meant by extra effort, as in killing all the formalities and BSing around, and actually haul ass when the sexy clown girl abducted this bitch and his car. Oh, and there's a tank involved somewhere, but hey, those 2 reasons alone help with the motivation in this one. Like his stolen property.
Oh! Word life. This is basic thugonomics. This is basic thugonomics. Word life.
I think the reason Batman went the extra mile is because Harley is more insane and innocent, since the crazies know no better. While the Penguin is known for playing the act, fooling you to get what he wants in the comics, he knows that Harley takes this very seriously and was sincere about it, that's why Batman offered to help. Plus, that exchange at the end.
There's one thing I gotta know. How'd you stay with me all day, risking your butt for someone who's never given you anything but trouble?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
shows that they both went through the deep end based on their dark past, thus they seem to get along much better, making Batman's efforts in this episode a lot better and more meaningful than Penguin's episode.
On the other side of things, we have Veronica Vreeland in Birds of a Feather and Harley's Holiday. Jesus, this woman has some crappy encounters with the bad villains every time she pops out of the overpriced woodwork. In her debut episode in Birds of a Feather, she and her wussy manservant Pierce had this oh-so-brilliant idea of a practical joke.
Yes, let's antagonize a poor supervillain that's trying to go straight because we got a freaking glorious popularity stats to uphold. He'll just laugh. Ow.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, but are you freaking brain dead here? Bullying a supervillain is pretty much the equivalent of you as Steve Irwin poking a gator with a stick. You know how it's gonna end. Okay, maybe not that, but close enough. Even after Penny saves for those mean old thugs, she shows at least a soft spot, even going as far as to stop the joke before it gets any worse. Did you do that? No. Prince Boy over there convinced her to prolong it even longer.
Yes, Veronica, let the bitch flow through you.
And see what you get? You got tied up on a chandelier in an abandoned part of town while wearing that lovely evening dress like a dumbass. Congrats. There's also Harvey Bullock being Bullock and boxing for Harley Quinn. That sounds delicious. But they're just there to add to the funny.
But in Harley's Holiday, this time she tried to avoid getting involved with something like that again. Obviously showing some character development since the last time this occurred. In this case, she was kidnapped unintentionally by Harley during the overreacting car chase through the city. Veronica is at first understandably frightened by the whole thing, but soon she sees Harley is serious about not wanting to hurt anyone and does the right thing. She even went as far as to drop the charges, only for that tank to appear, preventing the chase to cut short. But hey, you went from sort of an unlikable to pretty likable Veronica. You get a cookie! Ah, shit, that's not a cookie. Take two!
And we have Dr. Joan Leland, a psychiatrist from Arkham who was responsible for letting Harley out of the asylum after claiming she was totally 100% Alright, Leland, let's just say that she's in fact sane. Then what in the holy hell are you flippin' doing? If I had your job, I would have done so many friggin' things before letting this ball of joy into the streets. First, a heaping balls of meds will calm her down for starters. Second, you need a probation officer that is not Batman to keep her ass in line to make sure she doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. Third, where the hell is the animal control during all this? They would have immediately locked her babies up since it's quite obvious that they are a danger to everyone nearby. And fourth, due to her criminal past, they should ship her off outside of Gotham to a family or guardian so that way nothing, and I mean, okay, maybe that says I want to see what goes on with them on that one-bedroom apartment. I mean, nothing influenced her to become a supervillain again. So, Miss Leland, you're fired. Play my music. You done? Oh yeah, I'm good.
Well, you add those two stories together with the same supporting characters, they make a really good character development double feature on contrasting how to properly treat a reformed criminal. Ha! So, it's a tie!
Alright, next we get to the animation, tones, and visual portion of this round. For this particular round is for the quality, fluidness of the animation, the tone, and the visual looks of the story. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is the difference between the animation from episode to episode despite it came from the same show? If you're like me or anyone with a good eye for animation, they'll notice the quality of the animation differences throughout the show's episodes. The animation for both the episodes are all done by Dongyang Animation, a recurring Korean studio that appears throughout season 1 of the series alongside with ACOM, Spectrum, TMS, Sunrise, and Studio Juno. They later became a standard studio alongside with Coco when they give from season 2 through 4 of the animated series, starting from the Adventures of Batman and Robin seasons all the way to the new Batman Adventure seasons. The animation in Birds of a Feather is kinda off. The animation isn't too fluid for the most part, with bits of the fight scenes ranging from slow and meh to the character's animation of the Penguin being even more off, like the animators are struggling to keep the DeVito look of the Penguin to be consistent.
Also, everything just looks gray. The colors are dialed down, giving it a realistic type of look. I think it kind of fits for this story.
Last but not least, there's a bit of an off-modeling in the animation. Batman looks weird in this one scene on the balcony as his eyes derped a little.
For Veronica being considered attractive, some of the shots of her doesn't scream hot. I prefer how she looks in Harley's Holiday and later on in the new Batman Adventures redesign, as it makes more sense visually in context of the story. Now, in Harley's Holiday, which takes place during season 3 of the retitled The Adventures of Batman and Robin, you know that season when the network really kept pestering Tim and Deanie to add more Robin into the series? Can't you tell that the writers really don't want Dick Grace's Robin around much throughout season 1? So, this retelling came in and we see the Boy Wonder appearing much more frequently than season 1. The animation throughout season 2 through 4 have a much more consistent quality, with only Dongyang being the most recurring, like I mentioned before, with a slight tweak in the character models, making Batman much more beefier and square-jawed compared to his more lean model and occasional long chin look he had throughout season 1. I can best compare how he looks in Talbar to his more grim, bulky look during the episodes animated by Sunrise and Tabas. Now, Harley's Holiday's animation quality is much better, with more brighter colors, more fluid action scenes, more cartoony to anime-esque facial expressions, and great comedic timing. You can tell that they want this quality to be at their best, especially for the kind of episode they wanted.
The whole tone feels hilarious from beginning to end. Kind of like all those old school comedy films, like It's a Mad World, with all those funny car chases and the escalation of chaos throughout the episode.
You sure do use a lot of big words throughout this episode. Go.
Also, the characters are at least looking better this time around. Even Harvey Bullock looks quite dashing.
In case you can't tell. Finally, we go into the story. Which plot has been well told the most, and combine the elements of the previous categories and see which one works well enough to achieve the final score and wins in the end. I feel that out of the two episodes, the Penguin's own episode is the more grounded and down-to-earth story that complements the character, and just like Penguin, is smartly written to an extent. And while you doubt the story and the character that he might put you through a supervillainous loop, you, like Batman, get floored that this episode and the character of Penguin is quite damn serious about being a good man, only to, and I repeat, BS occur that makes him evil again. Only in this case, he attacks the type of people he robbed from the start, only this time there's an endearing, legit reason behind it, because you know what we learn in this episode? The rich freaking sucks! Because once you add a buttload of cash right next to their egos with addition of constant pampering, they'll make someone like the freaking villain a damn saint in comparison. Almost!
Also, I like the pacing in the show. It gives us more time for Penguin to make his decision to be good, spend some time alone out of jail, go on a date, fall in love, fail in love, and go back being evil only 15 minutes in, only to fail being evil again, because Batman.
Now, I never really thought of this till I actually read this up on TV Tropes that Bruce, Veronica, and Cobblepot have varying degrees of poor social skills, thus they cannot connect with one another, making the phrase birds of a feather flock together sound very ironic and clever. Kinda makes you enjoy the episode much more with that twist in the old saying.
Harley's episode is faster paced and way more out there than Penguin's episode because it complements her character as well as a full-blown comedy with Golden Age era humor. The humor ranging from sitcoms with Harley interacting with other characters, the situation of her being sane, and lastly, the screwball comedy with more the Cloud Cuckoo Lander Harley pairing up with the straight man Batman and or Veronica. And to top it off with a dash of innuendos and puns, which totally fits her character big time.
Now, despite the questionable idea of letting Harley go without making sure nothing goes wrong like Mr. Hand complained about, let's be honest, we can't have a story without a little comedy of errors.
Okay, seriously, am I the only one who knows that he sounded much smarter at the moment? No, just me. Paul Dini's love and talent for old school humor, which I admired and miss nowadays sometimes, also despite at face value being a Batman episode with screwball comedy attached to it, it shows a lot of great character moments and development of Harley, Batman, and even Veronica showing that she ain't always a total rich bitch from a birds of a feather. Yeah, I know she had a conscience back then, but she still kinda went with it. And while I do love Harley's Holiday being a more entertaining episode, I still felt that Birds of a Feather was more grounded, better paced, and has more depth than most Villain Reformed episodes does. Point goes to Birds of a Feather. I kinda expect Birds of a Feather to win this one when originally thinking of this episode. I guess I'm more of a sucker for comedy than I thought. That or sexy clown girls. Well, guys, let's go home. I finally managed to complete our watch towards home.
Later, viewers! Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we love making it.
Yeah! This is excellent! 'Twas all good indeed.
Insert happy line here!